Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Fast Break. I'm one half of the co-host Davidson Crooks. D-Lock, how you doing tonight?
Everything good, man. How you doing? Been a pretty decent weekend. Trying to get situated, man. Get ready for another great week.
Yeah, it's been a week, all right. I mean, if you're not paying attention to the news, I don't see how you're not. But it seems like, I don't know, America just has gone to the wayside.
Yeah, we are separating quickly. That's what I'm noticing. We're definitely separating very fast. There's a lot of stuff going on at this moment.
Yeah, it's real heavy out there. If you're in cities, major cities and stuff like that, or big cities with big populations, just kind of watch yourselves and all that stuff. And if you go out and protest, make sure you have your supplies ready and have some running shoes on you and all that stuff.
Yeah, because right now, the way things are going, you have to be prepared for anything. It's a sad day, but things happen. But it's getting to the extreme at this moment.
Yeah, it is. And, here at IE Sports Radio, we're going to do our best to, give y'all the coverage that y'all deserve. So thank y'all for listening with us tonight. And we're going to give y'all a great show tonight. But, D-Lock, our first subject tonight is like the NBA. They still trying to figure out ways to, come back into the fold and get things rolling with their season. The board of governors, is expected to approve Adam Silver's restart plan Thursday. And they're trying to get the season back and rolling by late July. One of the sites that seems like that may be the best plan is in Orlando. We'll wait and see about that, but that seems like the likely destination because Florida has become that area that that a lot of these other leagues are started to open up around with. And with their plan, with Alex Silver's plan, their support to bring 22 teams to the Disney ESPN Worldwide Sports Complex in July. This format likely will include regular season and playing games to compete for the playoff berths in both Eastern and Western Conferences sources said. The NBA needs a 3/4 majority, which should probably be approved, of owners to approve a return play plan. And an overwhelming majority of owners expressed desire to do precisely that on both a board of governors call on Friday. So they yet to endorse a restart. This is like one of 4 ideas that has been presented to the board of governors. There are rumors that they're trying to bring back all 30 teams.
Which doesn't make any sense to me.
Not me either. And, we discussed this like for the past couple of weeks. It's like for the Warriors, for example. I'm pretty sure I'm locked in at least a top 3 pick. Why don't I want to come out and play games?
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. I don't understand why would all of these teams want to come back and play. Was it about 16 to 20 games left?
Yep.
Yeah, so to come back and play risk injury, go through the whole training camp thing to get the chemistry back. Like, let's be honest. It'd be different if this was earlier in the season, but we're so close to where the playoffs are.
Mm-hmm.
There's honestly no reason to have some of these teams come back. It's better off that you just get ready for next year. I mean, something wrong with that. But some players beg to differ, and also when it comes to the money, they think different.
Yeah, and also included in this plan, the 22 team plan will include teams that are currently within 6 games of the final playoff spots in each conference. So in the Western, for example, be New Orleans, Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio will land in Orlando under those guidelines. And with Washington joining as the only team within 6 games of the AC in the Eastern Conference. So what do you think about that? Like, do you agree, like, bringing those other teams in, trying to complete to make the playoffs, or do you like say like, hey, just go and scratch it, get to the playoffs, and get everything over with?
It's tough because you have some teams on the outside looking in, but again, we're about 16 to 20 games. You had let's say worst case is 20 games. You've had 62 games to get in the place that you want to be. So for me, I really feel as if they should take those top 8 and take it from there. Most of the time, with those 8 teams, now you can actually see it how it's supposed to be done correctly, and just get ready to get these playoffs done if you're gonna go through the season, because again, you still don't forget now, you still gotta get ready for all season. There's a lot of other questions that is gonna need to be answered when the time comes around. So, these are things that need to be done now, because the longer we take, now you're talking about okay, well, hold on, let's do this. Hold on, let's do that. Hold on, let's make sure this is good and that is good. That's a lot of work. So for me, I would say, take those 8 teams, East and West, and move from there. But with the players have their mindset, teams maybe 2 or 3 games out that want an opportunity to win, they're gonna say, well, hey, we're this close. We want to win a championship as well. Like, to us as fans, we see, okay, well, clearly the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, 76ers, and maybe a couple other teams are really the team that's going to win a title. But as players, they don't look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
They look at it totally different. Hey, we are the Orlando Magic. We are the AC. We have a chance to win the championship as well, which is a great mindset to have. It's just the fact that when it gets to the 9, the 10 seed, now that kind of changes. Because, we want to put you in. Now that means that we got to expand. So I don't think it's a good idea, but this is going to be a long process behind this.
Yeah, and in the chat, D-Lock, Wellington Sports Radio, thinks the NBA will follow the NHL league when it comes to the playoffs. And, I thinking, if they were smart, they would do that. And instead, trying to risk bringing these extra teams like a Sacramento, a San Antonio, and Phoenix, in the fold. Portland. Yeah, Portland, when the season shut down, we're like 2 games behind Memphis, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. So
yeah, they were back there. Yeah, they definitely were back there.
So, you know, I got an idea and, just kind of like stay in, I guess stride with how they regularly do things. I'll say just take the top six from each conference, go 5 games in the first round, go 7 in the next few rounds, get done the season by what? If you do it that way, what? By late August, early September?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe trying to think. And then you got to worry about the NBA draft too, that you already pushed back to August. And time to go off the sidetrack a little bit. What do you think about all these guys that declare for the draft and stuff like that has not hired an agent? What would you think about how would you play it out if you're a guy that, you got school coming back in August. They try and get the season up and cracking by late July and probably bleed over into September. They moved the draft to August. So what you thinking that these guys should do? Those guys that didn't, hire an agent. School start back in August. The season get back and run in late July. What you think about that? What these guys should do as NCAA athletes?
I mean, it's to the point now where, like, I feel like with the season ending, a lot of players felt as if a lot of things were at risk as far as their career. So they took that leap to go professional. Now, me, I think that when you do make this decision to go pro, before you even decide to go pro, what you need to have is an agent. Like, that's me even though I was a senior, me throughout my senior year, I was trying to figure out who my agent was going to be. So it's the same thing, with athletes that are juniors or sophomores or freshmen. This is the decision that you already have to come up with. You already need to know these answers before you go. So for me, because every decision that you make moving forward is going to affect this athlete career. Even though this year is a little different than what we've seen in the past, I would think that once you make that decision, you're gonna go to classes, you're gonna do those different things, but now you're just focused on the next part of your career, what you're gonna do next. So you have to be prepped for that. We know after college, it's more so of a job now. There's different things that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for that. To me, like I said, this is a kind of a scenario where it makes you think that some of these kids are not fully prepared. Like, you're just jumping to the league just because you have the opportunity to do that. But you still have a life that you still got to live. You still have to pay bills now. You were staying in a dorm or wherever, and the school was taking care of it. That's not happening anymore after you go professional. You had, at some point, you had study hall, or you had a professor or different people that you would see during the day outside of practice to help you with classes. Now you have to do that on your own. So these are things that they have to make adjustments to at the end of the day. So, I know a lot of people, a lot of kids, athletes dream of being professionals, but there's a lot that comes with that. Now, it doesn't mean that it's impossible, but there are other responsibilities that go with it as well. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think that now the mindset that you have to take is incredibly different than what you took when you were in college. This is a professional side of things. You're gonna hire somebody that's gonna help you financially. You're gonna have you hit you with different things. It's just now you have to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. And that's huge. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, whatever, even with school coming back. So that's what I think most kids have to understand is the fact that, okay, we do have different things going on. The season was cut short, X, Y, and Z, but you still need to have all your ducks in a row because you're going to be professional now, right? Your coach is not going to be telling you, hey, go do this or make sure you go do this, make sure you go do that. Your coach is not going to be doing that as a professional. The only thing they're going to be telling you that you got to make sure that you got to do is go to practice.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, the NBA, if they, get this, how they're going to start the league situation figured out, then maybe, all the rest of the ducks in a row will be figured out as well. But, with the uncertainty in a lot of things, with the protests and stuff like that going on, destroying a lot of things, we haven't heard anything about Orlando being hit. I highly doubt they'll let, the Daisy complex be hit like that, but you never know. But, it's just, they got to figure something out. Well, like I said, what Welton Sports brought up, I like the NJ idea. I like when they, decided to cancel the rest of the season and just jump to the playoffs and get everything done and get over with. And then you figure out your thought process from there. It's just, we talked about this last week about Tim and Fertitta and him, his pocket's hurting. He's probably one of those guys that's itching to get back to get some revenue back in his pocket, and sitting on that loan he got. But,
that's a lot of money. I know we went up, but that's a lot of money, yo. Like, that's a lot of cash. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, people are prepping because when all this stuff ends, things will get back to normal at some point. I mean, we know there's a lot of stuff going on, but things will get back to normal. And people want to have, with things going back to normal, there are still bills that need to be paid.
Yep.
So that is something that will not change. And at the same time, like I said, athletes that are making that jump to the professional side, they just got to be very prepared. And once you're very prepared, I don't think it's a bad move. You're never going to discount. You're never going to think that you're not good enough to be a professional. And I don't think they don't think that. So when they get a chance to be in the league, they just have to move forward and do what they have to. But at the same time, be prepared for every move. And that's even including making sure, if you still want to get your degree, make sure you're approaching that as well.
And, just talk about the league coming back and, trying to come back in late July and the different ideas that, trying to, different ideas they try and bounce off and stuff like that. There's one player in the NBA that, this didn't take kindly to what a former NFL player said about him.
Right.
Damian Lillard, star point guard for the Portland Trailblazers, was not too happy with Dan Orlovsky. And Dan Orlovsky, former quarterback in the NFL for the Detroit Lions. Trying to think who else he played for. Who else did he play for? But most notably for the Lions and go 0-16 that year.
He played for the Colts too.
Yep, yeah. I think, yeah.
And ran out of bounds.
Yeah, ran out of bounds. And that just kind of capped off that 0-16 run. Orlovsky made some comments about Lillard because Lillard has come out and said, I don't want to come out and play if we're not going to, be in contention for the playoffs. Now, I'll be there with my team to support them, But it'd be wasting my time. I won't say waste. I won't say he said wasted time, but it's just kind of pointless to come back and not mean nothing just because y'all want to get things up and rolling. But Orlowski, went on Skip and Shannon's show and said, Damian Lillard was entitled, spoiled, all that stuff. In which, if you know Damian Lillard's history and where he came from, that's far from it, D-Lock.
Yeah.
Very far from that. And what you think, do you think he's alone in those, in his thoughts saying, if I'm not going to be in playoff contention, why come back? Do you agree with those comments with him?
To be honest, and it's tough to decide to choose whose side to be on because both have a point. But I kind of can understand both sides, honestly. I'm going to cover Dan Orlowski's side first because he feels as if you are part of the team, right? You are the leader, the captain, one of the guys, right? In fact, if you say something, most players on that team is going to follow, and their attitude towards it is going to follow. So I understand that what Dan Orlowski is saying because it's not about just making the playoffs. It's about being part of the team, doing something that you love. There's a lot of teams, a lot of players that do things that they love and they don't win a championship. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what their life is. Like, again, it goes back to what we know as far as NFL and basketball and all sports. There's one champion. Football, there's 32 teams. Only one team can win the championship. How many is there in basketball? It's about the same, right?
Yeah.
So only one team can win the championship. So most of the time when you hear that, it sounds like a mindset, oh, hey, yeah, we're quitting. We're not going to win a championship. I'm not with it. So I kind of understand where Dan Orlowski is coming from because he's saying, hey, look, you have this chance to win. You have this chance to get back to playing, and you don't want to play anymore. Like that questions your love for the game, right? So I kind of understand that. Dame's side is understandable as well. I mean, dude is he's one of the better players in the league. Not only that, he is one of the better players on the team as well. And his contract says that. So if he comes back and plays, he knows what he's worth. He knows that. So that's what makes it so tough is because this is not a conversation that you can just, hey, you know what? I'm just going to not do this. But he has to know, okay, well, hey, if I do play and something happens because I didn't play in it so long or the chemistry is not there and we only played, my body is not where it's at. We only played 16 to 20 games, and because of that, my quad is hurting and it's going to affect my play or whatever. Now, when he gets into negotiations or he's making these decisions in the future with the team, it could hurt. So that's why it's understandable on both sides. Honestly, if I had to decide, it's hard. It's hard to decide what side to choose because it depends on where you are in your career. Like, dude is one of the better players in the league, and he knows that. Dan Orlowski has never felt that. No disrespect. So it's hard for him to, it's different if we hear this from Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. A team that's sitting at maybe, or hell, even LeBron. But see, it's different because now we hear that and it's like, okay, well, yeah, you are not going to play. And the reason why is because the season's already short and you're not going to make the playoffs. But if they get hurt and they do play, us as fans, we see that. But it's like, hey, well, I hope we get better. Okay, well, who's the next player? That's why it's understandable. Because as fans, we only look at what they do on the court. Players don't see it like that. So that's why it's kind of tough. I totally understand it on both ends, but I probably would have to side with Dame on this
one. And for Olasky to say that about somebody, and you're not really knowing, because in the back and forth in Twitter, Dame said, keep your name on my mouth. You don't know me like that. I kind of wish these guys that, in the media kind of choose their words wisely when they talk about people. Because, you never cross paths with Damian Lillard. Y'all play two different sports,
Yeah.
And, when you say entitled and stuff like that, that's painting a broad brush to a guy that, if we, us, talk about the NBA and basketball stuff like that, never heard like a bad thing about him.
Right.
It's kind of like out of pocket for, Orlasky to say that, and I kind of, I hate to bring up names, but kind of had to put some of that blame on like a Skip Bayless type, who they also tagged in his Twitter back and forth with Orlowski. Skip has that reputation, saying these guys or this and that, with, like the stuff he says about LeBron, the stuff he says about T.O. It's just, it's just, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, why say that? You know what I'm saying?
It's a tough conversation to have, because you're looking at, for one, you're looking at two totally different athletes, right? So
yep.
A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like you're looking at.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
The Dame has to be like top. Dame has to be top. I would say top 15. Am I stretching it by saying top 10? Top 10 is a stretch, right?
Well,
top 10 is a stretch.
If we're doing top 10, you have LeBron, Giannis, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard. So that's 5 right there. And then James Harden, who we'll talk about here in a little bit. That's 6. Who else are we looking around the league? Jokic from Denver.
Jokic, yeah.
That's 7. Trying to look who else around the league. Would you throw Luka Doncic in the top 10?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Top 5.
So
top 5.
That's 8 right there. And then
gotta put Dame in the top 10 though. Ain't no way he's not in the top 10 from what I'm thinking right now. There's no way he's not in the top 10.
I'm trying to think who else. You could probably throw in Joel Embiid in there.
Yeah, Ben Simmons. You said Ben Simmons already.
Either Paul George or Ben Simmons in that mix.
Yeah.
So, but you could swap out, if you put Ben Simmons number 10, you can swap out Damian Lillard with him easily.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is he's up there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now watch this. Tell me a time where you think Daniel Lapsley was top 30 in the NFL.
Talking about quarterback?
Nah. Overall.
Man, that dude probably ain't sniffed top 30 probably since his prep days.
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of tough to. I can see what Dan is saying. Okay, you started, but come on, man. Elvis Skirbeck started for the Ravens.
Oh yeah.
So we can go numbers, and the reason why I said this is because I was telling you the football cards earlier, and I went by past his name. So we can go by names and starters early, but it's hard. It's like he's speaking from an athletic mindset, which is cool, but he doesn't know what Dame is looking at.
Yeah.
Dame is looking at something totally different than he is. So you can't say, okay, well, hey, you're supposed to feel how I feel, or you're supposed to think the same way, but he doesn't. And like I said, different athletes will feel different if you were to ask them. It's rough, but the man is not about just picking up, just playing ball just to play. The man wants to pick up a championship. Now, it's the same thing that he said when he said earlier about, I think he said he wouldn't leave Portland. He's not liking what Kawhi did and LeBron and Paul George did. That's what Dame said. But at the same time, he wants to win a championship there. And that's what the goal is. So I understand what Dan is saying. It's just two totally different caliber athletes. We know that Dan Orlovsky is a great reporter right now at this moment. But on the athletic, on the court and on the field, we're talking about two totally different players. Totally different players to me.
Yeah, it's I could see it. If Orlovsky, then throwing the other comments, I will agree with him. Like, okay, get a chance to play. You're not sitting at home. We talked about this last week, about, if the Bulls could have won, went for 7 in that 99 year. We kind of brought up guys like, Sean Kemp, coming back, overweight and all that stuff. That, for example, and stuff like that. And, not saying Lil would come back out of shape, and bloated, but, I think Orlovsky's probably thinking like, there's a great way to stay in shape, get game ready, come back and play ball, not be distracted by the news and stuff like that. If he kind of like say things like that, I, kind of agree with him. I probably think, Lil one probably came as strong as he did at him.
Yeah.
But, he throws those other words out there. And then as Orlovsky starts backpedaling. And then we're here today, discussing, these two guys rebuttal back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it didn't have to happen, but again, it goes with anything you say on social media is going to be maximized.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have as much attention as players like a Dame. That's just what it's going to be. So you got to know that when you say something, somebody's going to respond. And a lot of times, like we talked about earlier, people are looking for a lot of clout. So if you say something that they don't agree with, and they know a lot of people don't agree with, they're going to respond to it. And it's going to get a lot of retweets. It's going to get a lot of favorites. It's going to get a lot of response. A lot of like photos or whatever the case may be. But to me, like I said, this is something that these two I look at it, like they're both not wrong, but they're just two totally different caliber athletes. Like, and that's not in a disrespectful way to me. Like, I'm not disrespecting Dan Orlovsky, but he just wasn't that player. Like, he just wasn't. It'd be different if John Elway said this, or Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady. But he just, come on, man. Like, the only reason why we really talk about Dan Orlovsky is because he was on the 0-16 Lions team that on 3rd and I believe 3rd and 14, he backed up on 3rd and 14 at the 2nd yard line and he caused a safety. Like, and now he's a reporter. Like, he's a former player, which is a great thing. You know, that's a goal that not many people can hit. But it's just that he's not doing what Dame did. The last thing we remember about Dame is him hitting that 3-pointer against, was it the Nuggets?
No.
In game, was it the Nuggets or who was it against?
No, was it
the Rockets?
You talking about that long bomb? Or
in the playoffs. In the playoffs. I could have sworn I thought it was against the Nuggets.
Well, his last big moment was that playoff game series against the Thunder.
That's who it was.
You know, he shot over Paul George.
Yep, that's exactly who it was. I'm thinking. Yep.
And, you know, it's just like.
So, yeah, that's different than what we know from Dan Orlowski. So they're two totally different caliber athletes to me. That's just, you know, how I look at it. So I understand where both are coming from, but I think Dane would think different if he was a similar athlete as Dan, and vice versa.
Yep.
It's hard, but that's just, it is what it is.
And, you know, we're sitting there talking about, you know, players, you know, caliber and, you know, ratings and stuff like that, how good they were in the career and stuff like that. You sent me this article from Stadiumtalk, you know, that was published back on May the 22nd. And I know you really want to touch on this. And if you don't know about this, ladies and gentlemen, but Stadiumtalk put out an article on the 22nd of May talking about the most overrated NBA players of all time.
Yes.
And
did you see that list?
I seen it. I was like, well, I mean, I was like, y'all must be really, really bored.
Yes. Dude, okay. So the first person that I just want to mention is James Harden.
Yes.
How do you have a person like James Harden on the list?
I don't know.
That is considered overrated. As it's considered overrated.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And then you know, you go from James Harden, then you go to Vlade Divac, who, I mean, you can make a case he's overrated and should be questioned why he's in the Hall of Fame. But I think, you know, he's in the same boat as Arvydas Sabonis, that these guys had a great overseas career. And then they come to the NBA and play pretty decently well, you know, and, you know, it's just, and they in the Hall of Fame, you know, for Divac, I can see the argument in the article they brought up that, you know, two things he's most known for: being traded for Kobe Bryant, and then all the flopping he did in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have dubbed him the godfather of flopping in the NBA. So I can see that.
A little bit, yeah, I can. It just, come on, man. I mean, we I guess we're not gonna go down the whole list, but it's just some names like DeMar DeRozan. Like I don't think he's overrated. That's just me. I think that he's one of those players that did make a big impact in the San Antonio and Toronto, or he is, with San Antonio. I just feel like for them to say he's overrated is a stretch, right? The more you go down this list, it's just ridiculous, like completely ridiculous. Dude, I see Dwight Howard on this list.
Yeah, Dwight Howard, you know, before, you know, he started bouncing around, those years with the Magic, he was a stud.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy of mine told me a couple years ago saying that Dwight Howard is not, you know, a Hall of Fame player. I said, what?
Nah, they tripping.
I was like, hey, and I don't know if we talked about this in the past, but people don't like Dwight Howard for whatever reason. But it's like, come on now. The stats he put up, during his time in the Magic, and then, he still puts up decent stats per
Lakers
per minutes and stuff like that. 36 minutes. And he's a Hall of Famer. If you got someone like Vlade Divac in the Hall of Fame, then Dwight Howard, with his multiple awards and stuff like that, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Now, what did you think? I wanted to ask you about a couple players up here, because I kind of think, I'll tell you what I think after. What do you think about Josh Smith? Do you think he was just a little bit overrated? Or, because boy, I ain't gonna lie. To me, I probably would say he was. Honestly. I mean, he was solid, but I think he was bigger. He was a bigger hype than what we like. I think we hyped him up a lot, to be honest, around that, especially when he was with the Hawks. We definitely hyped him up.
I think for me, for Josh Smith, I think he was fine for what he was. I don't think when he came out, to the NBA out of high school, I don't think a lot of people expected, Hall of Fame career or something like that. I mean, you're talking about a raw athlete, that survived. I mean, he played a lot of years in the NBA and made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing I noticed in this article. They keep on, they brought up the money and stuff like that. I mean, you can't fault these players taking the money when it's available, but with Josh Smith, he's been solid to me. I ain't, expect him to be dapper and all that stuff. That's just me. Another name on the list is like Solomon Hill. I mean, I don't want to say he's overrated, but I think you can argue that he probably had one of the worst contracts that was given in the league in recent league history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
I hated seeing Paul Pierce on this list because I think he had a very solid NBA career. I think, the reason why he got put on this list maybe because he probably said some silly things for the past couple of years.
LeBron, right? Yeah.
Well, not even LeBron, but, Kobe. Think he better than Kobe? It's like, just calm down, Paul. Just calm down.
Yeah.
Just calm down.
I didn't like the fact that Draymond was on this list. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I think that it's adding on to how he is. I don't think that he is that bad to be overrated.
No.
I mean, I think he's one of the better players in the league. I mean, he kind of reminds me. I would say remind. I'm not gonna say exactly like, but he does remind me of a player like. I gotta be strict with my words. Like Dennis Rodman, not exactly like, but he reminds me of the type of player that Dennis Rodman was. So to me, I don't see him being overrated. Now, Latrell Sprewell, yeah, I think that was a little hype. Don't think so?
Well, I mean, I ain't saying, I mean, Spree, had his hair right with most of his career. He can give you some buckets and he can carry you.
Yeah.
And I think he, shot himself in the foot not taking that money years ago, saying, he can't feed his kids and stuff like that, which is the stupidest thing I heard. One of the stupidest things I heard Pro Athlete said. But I still can't believe he said it. I can't feed my kids on that. I'm like, come on, dude, are you serious? But anyways,
you want more money.
I know that, but damn, dog, it's like you got a good thing going, Minnesota. Then you're like, come on, this is like, I root for these Alabama basketball players because a lot of them don't make it to the league. And I'm like, damn, dude, really?
Yeah, you wanted a few.
You want a few.
You wanted a few, and this is your response. I mean, this, like I said, this list has a couple guys on there that kind of brings your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll bring back up Draymond. Draymond was a second round pick. I mean,
yeah.
How much do you expect from a second round pick? I'll say this: if you hit on a second round pick like that, and he became one of your cornerstones of your team that helped you win championships, that's a win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a win. And how many second round picks we seen, get big money contracts like that? Maybe it's like Manu Ginobili, Gilbert Arenas, Jordan Clarkson, those type of guys. Paul Millsap, who was also on this list as well, which is weird as well. It's like,
that's very weird.
It's like these guys. Some of these guys are second round picks. If they carved out a long career like this and made a lot of money, yeah, I won't agree with that. Now, Christian Laettner, I see at number 39. Yeah, that's
a big overrated. I cannot believe he did not pan out. I don't understand how he didn't pan out. That's a pan out that I just do not get.
That right there, that's overrated. And you talking about a guy that you can argue that had one of the best college careers ever.
Yes.
Got a documentary made after him, and his career is just pedestrian. I was like, dang, y'all got Christian Laettner 39, and then some odd reason they put Ricky Davis on this list.
I don't know why. I mean, I guess for a little bit of time over here, dude, I don't know. I can't even tell you. I mean, he was noticeable, but he wasn't. I think I remember playing him on NBA 2K for a while. He did have the braids with the headband, the next AI. Or supposedly, but he I don't know. I mean, I don't see him as a person that you would expect a lot from, but he was a person that acted. He was one of those guys that the team, who he is. He was one of those players that just stuck out.
Like he's still in the league type of dudes.
Yeah, like dang, he's still here. He on this other team, like he's still making it happen.
Now, Jimmy Fredette, I can agree with. He came in a time, when, they changed the rules in the league for guards and stuff like that. You see these type of guards now coming to the league, scoring and stuff like that. I'm surprised he really didn't stick in the league.
He reminds me of JJ Redick.
Yeah. And
that's what he reminds me of. Every time I hear his name and I see him shoot, he reminds me of JJ Redick. I don't see how he didn't pan out.
I was like, that's another person I can agree with. I see Austin Rivers, he had a very great prep career and then went to Duke and really didn't live up to the hype when he got there. And he's kind of been...
That last name hurt him.
Well, I won't say not necessary, but I don't know. It just didn't really click for him yet. I mean, I'll say this for his last name though, but he's gonna have a job in the league for years to come.
For a long time, yeah. Even after he's like, I think even after he retires as a player, I think he still can be a coach somewhere just because of the name that he had.
Oh yeah,
like he has those kind of connections.
And then just, I mean, we're not gonna try to go over everybody's name, but Joe Smith, that's overrated. A former overall pick. Yeah, he's got to be on the list.
I have to ask you about this guy. And the only reason why I'm saying this, we're probably going to say the reason why is because he switched a couple of teams. He was good for a short amount of time, and then injuries kind of hurt him. What do you think of Boogie Cousins? I know that's a tough question because when I looked at his name, it was tough because for me, I know what he was in Sacramento. I know what he can do. But he's in the similarity of the Grant Hill situation to me. He was on it, and then it's just switched a couple teams, went to Pelicans, was solid, and now it's like a little bit there. He cannot get away from the injury bug. So do we say – because I remember even when he did the interview about he didn't even have a license when he left Kentucky. I remember when he had to go get his driver's license. So I want your opinion on that because to me, I'm on the fence with it.
Well, I'll say, for those that don't know, DeMarcus Cousins played his prep ball, around the Mobile area in Alabama. And I know about DeMarcus since that time. And, from what was told back in all those years ago, he was a very, very talented player, but he always had an attitude. And he bounced around like 3 different high schools around there. So for me, I'll say this about for Grant Hill. At least he led his team to playoffs. At least, we can pinpoint he was that dude, until the injuries happened. Cousins, I don't think he was never going to be that dude. Very, very, yes, talented player, yes, but we saw that he was never that dude in Sacramento. And it showed. They never won past 35 games, stuff like that, and, how he is, as a basketball player on the court, and his attitude kind of dictated how his career went. So, for Cousins, for me, solid player, but, is he overrated? It's tough to say if he's overrated.
That's a hard question, dog.
It's tough to say.
It's a hard question. I don't want to say he is, but the expectations, especially coming from Kentucky, that Calipari tree, it's like you're guaranteed you were supposed to be good. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough question. Then also his career is not over with yet, so it's very tough. But I don't know. I mean, I would love to see what other people thought about it because Duke can average a triple-double. We know that. Mm-hmm. Dude he's that talented. I think at some point he was doing that. But it's similar to when we seen Kevin Love leave Minnesota and go to Cleveland. Now, obviously, he's in a different caliber than, but remember, Kevin Love was a guy when he was in Cleveland, in Minnesota. But now all of a sudden, when he goes to Cleveland, he's this with LeBron, he's this different person. So maybe that could have transpired with, Boogie going with AD, but dude, I don't know. I mean, that's very tough. That's very tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and you think he found that footing with New Orleans, and then he got hurt, and then kind of this everything kind of tailspin after that. He lost money, and then you try and latch on, try and win a ring with Golden State. That didn't happen. It's like kind of like the latter part of his career. You think things will go positive, but it really hasn't for him. And then, just touch on a couple more players on this list. I see Andrew Bynum on there. I'll say this about Bynum. I'm gonna probably make a bold claim here. Now, maybe the Lakers may not make this trade to get Pau Gasol years ago, but I'll say this: if Andrew Bynum did not get hurt those years ago, the month before they got Pau Gasol, I don't think that trade happens. I'll give you my reason why. I think Bynum was. I think he's that year. He's close to playing to he was playing to an all-star level before he went into that injury.
Yeah.
And if he didn't go down, because at that time, if I remember correctly, the Lakers were sitting at number 2 in that time period. And he goes down. They don't have like a real low post threat because, you got Lamar Odom, but he played inside out. Got Kobe in the fold and stuff like that. But it's tough to put him overrated because if the injuries didn't happen, God knows how he will be right now.
Yeah.
And, and we saw that once he got his money, we kind of saw the attitude come out in him. And, you can kind of question the work ethic as well. How bad does he want it? But it's kind of hard to put him overrated because I think if the injuries didn't happen to the knees, I think he'd be one of the better big men in the league.
Yeah.
Look at Joel Embiid. I think, if Bynum was still healthy, I think when Embiid would have came out like he did, I think a player comp you could compare him to was Andrew Bynum.
Yeah. Andrew Bynum was pretty solid, and he had pieces around him to be good too.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. You had, especially with Kobe. Kobe's going to grasp all the attention. Now we know Kobe was known for not passing the ball, but I think at some point that does happen.
Yeah, and
so he make a huge impact.
And then I see like Darren Williams, and then his career basically disappeared when he got traded.
He left the Jazz and went to. Who? I know he went to Brooklyn at some point.
Yeah,
but was it Brooklyn he went straight next to, or was it somebody else?
Him and Jerry Sloan had that bad falling out, and they traded him to New Jersey.
That's who it was.
And after that, it's just like I don't know what happened to him. It's just like I don't know, man. It's just like you got
fell off the earth.
He just fell off.
Yep. Fell straight off.
And we talk about those player and coaches combinations that work well together. Those two right there, Salone and and Darren Williams, that should have worked for a good while, until Stallone called it quits.
Yeah.
And to round up a couple other names, Steve Francis. I do agree with that.
Yeah, he was solid, but he just fell off the earth too.
Yeah, I do agree with that, and hopefully Steve Francis in good health, because some photos I've seen of him over the years, he don't look very good.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Marbury, I could see a little bit because he's a guy that had that New York hype behind him, and then
Fell off.
I won't say fell off. It's just like it's like a lot of hype. It's like ooh, we got Stephon Marbury, and then nothing transpired. I mean, he had some solid success in the here and there, but it's just like nothing. I don't know, really materialized.
Concrete, yeah. Not even the shoes.
Well, I couldn't hate the shoes. I mean, it's great that he built that brand. And trying to provide sneakers for kids and stuff like that, even adults for a good quality price, and the gear and all that stuff. And I can't hate on that. Other guys like Mitch Richmond, I can see that argument as well. Pistol Pete, yeah, I can see that. And then, and number one on the list is Ralph Sampson, who, I don't know, I don't know. They try to work out Kareem, which even like in 1980s standards, you required to have two big men. That didn't really work out for them, man. That's like a strange fit anyway. And a guy that's just never, I don't know. I hear Ralph Sampson. I just think more Virginia than NBA.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know. This list, right? Some names we agree with, some don't. It's a long list too. So if y'all go read it, just be prepared. It's a long list. Like they really, really, really thought on this list.
They had to throw some names up there just for attention.
Yeah, they had to.
That's what I was thinking. Some of them names, I'm like, come on, man, you put Melo on this list. What did you think? Like, I know he kind of like, went a little south, but he ain't overrated now. Don't say all that.
And then they got Joe Johnson on the list as well. And it's like, yeah. But the two of them are on the same boat, career wise. How they wind up, made it playoffs a lot of times, made it the conference finals. I think for Joe Johnson, it took a little while to get his feet under him in the league, but once he got to Atlanta, he found his, footing in Phoenix, then he kind of took off. But I don't know. It's an interesting list, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out when you get a chance. Some interesting names on there and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool to go back to the time machine to look at
a couple names, right?
Yeah, a couple names.
Like a Ricky Davis. I ain't heard Ricky Davis' name in so long.
I know.
I was like, wow. Like this is a person that we really thought was the man for a while. At least he was pretty solid on defense.
I mean, yeah. I remember. And then look at Eddie Curry. I didn't know he played for the Mavericks.
Yeah, I ain't know that either.
I'm like,
I really didn't know that.
Oh, dang, you play for the Mavericks? I did not know that.
Yeah. Short time, as they say. Short time.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our show tonight. A couple other tidbits and news out there. Nike has canceled their AAU season, the Nike EYBL. They have canceled that this summer. So, some of these, schools and stuff trying to get back in high school, prep schools and stuff like that, trying to get up and rolling and workouts and stuff like that. And all the traveling, associated with AAU, they decided to cancel it.
Yep.
So I think, if they're going to cancel theirs, then I think we'll see the dominoes fall with Under Armour and Adidas as well. So, and, D-Lock and my cousin, he was trying to find a new AAU team. I was trying to help him out with that, but I told him, I don't know, with all this stuff going on, it's going to be pretty hard. And I don't think they're going to be playing this year.
Nah, it's going to be real tough. It's going to be real tough with all this stuff going on.
So I told him, it's like, just work out here. We'll work out together and just get you ready for the upcoming season.
Yeah.
But, it sucks that these, you know what? I'll say this. I think it's good that some of these guys get a break from that for this year. Because, these guys play 3 or 4 games in a day and stuff like that. And, we hear about the knee issues that these guys had later on. Like, if they make it to the NBA, having knee issues and stuff like that early on in their career. Playing AAU ball, kind of, all those games and stuff like that, kind of help, hurts that. So I think, in the long term, I think it helps out extending, playing career, so to speak. So I do want to throw that out there. True. Yeah. And so I do want to throw that out there. That's the really only major news. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, by that time, the NBA Board of Governors will get their vote together, get things situated, and we'll see, how things going to shake out for the league.
We will. Indeed, we will.
So, D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You guys definitely can find me at Black-813 on Twitter or Instagram. I just posted another YouTube video last week. I definitely dropped another one this week coming up. You'll find me at Dentarius Lock on there, which is my first and last name. And we keep moving that way, where they can find you.
You can find me on the Crooks Process at Instagram and Facebook. Also find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. And we'll be back here next week and give y'all another great show. And if you're out there, wherever you're on in America, stay safe. Stay safe out. That's all I can say. Just
don't do nothing crazy. Think about it at least.
Yeah, the amount of videos I've seen over the weekend and the craziness that has happened. It sucks that
it comes down to.
It got to come down to. But we'll see how things shake up next week. We'll be back to give y'all the great news of basketball all around the world. But until then, peace.
All right, out.